Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
I must say the background is very nice and eye-catching.
Realistic one.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Nothing I did. It is available in Zoom, I guess. And just thought I'll add that one because it's the last class of the Sunday. And we need everything that is going to help and support us, right?
Right.
Yeah, so would appreciate if there are a few cameras or videos on. Thank you. Thank you, Dia, Gaurav, Neelam. Rizwan, thank you so much. Payal, thank you. Okay, we are in class 5, reached the halfway mark already, and 5 more to go. But this will be my last class. So next time onwards for this paper, there will be another faculty. So just to recap, we started with, the theory part of it. So in class number 1 and class number 2, we took a little bit of what is experiential learning, the background to it, the researched models to it. We looked at some pioneering theories like the John Dewey. Starting from John Dewey, we ended at David Cope's experiential learning model, talking about the experiential learning cycle, the learning style inventory. We looked at the 80-20-10 model framework. We looked at social learning theories, touching on Lev Vygotsky's theory, ending with Albert Bandura's social learning theory. Class 3 onwards, we started going into a little bit more practical things. We looked at, we had an overview of all the different experiential learning methods that are available to us. Had a little bit of discussion on models or methods like games and gamification, virtual and augmented reality, instruments, etc. We also discussed which method should we choose, which method becomes which part of the Cope's cycle, learning cycle. Last class, we looked at how to design these activities, how to match it with the learning style inventory, how to match it with the knowledge skill activities, and how does a design of an activity looks like. We also looked at certain models like the Colin Beard's model. We looked at the Gibbs reflective cycle. Today, we are going to deep dive into one experiential model, that is project-based learning, or PBL as it is called. And we have a poll ready for you here. So may I ask Gurvinder to please put on the poll, please? Gurvinder, it doesn't have to be a single choice. All right, it is not.
We can give only one choice, ma'am.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, tried with multiple but couldn't.
Oh, no. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm actually getting an idea of what I really wanted to know. So, okay.
Internationally, there is a sign which is whenever there is a round figure to click to check, it is single option. Whenever there is a square box, which is multiple option.
Yes, I'm sure it is there. And Gurvinder knows about it, but there must have been some misunderstanding from my, communication gap between the two of us. All right. So only 28 of you participated. That's surprising. So others, All right. Okay. So, Gurvinder, are you going to share this poll with everybody? Can they see it?
Yes, ma'am, they can see the results.
All right. So a lot of you, 40-50% of you have heard of problem-based learning and project-based learning. So probably there's because that single choice was given, you couldn't answer, but I'm sure that you have even uh, you have even heard of project-based projects. Okay. Chavi here is asking that there is no choice for not others. Okay, Chavi, no problem at all. That is the reason why this class today. So, since there are a number of you who know these methods, maybe we can ask them. I'll leave it open to you. So, first question, what do you mean by projects? Giving a project.
So it could be any task, probably a longer term task, probably let's say an automation project that has been given to somebody to ease out an administrative work in training department, and they learn on the go, something like a Lean Six Sigma projects that are there. You learn on the go probably. That's
Okay.
something to do with project and project based learning.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Project-based learning? Yes. That's not a project actually. It is project-based learning. Mhm.
Tasks,
Any
tasks which are foreseen to be completed in later stage, which are contemplated at the beginning and which has to be put into practice in later stage.
that would be what? Project-based learning, problem-based learning.
That is project.
Projects. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, then what is
Pro-
project-based learning?
Project can be like any kind of work which may involve different people, and it has to be done in with proper planning, and it should also be organized. It is said to be a project. So project-based learning is something like what we learn from, say, for example, if you are taking a bunch of students, a teacher, whereas it will be a student-centered teaching methodology or something which is used for acquiring knowledge or some skills, which is, or some kind of real-time project which has challenges where we focus on the challenges and we derive a outcome or result which is said to be a project-based learning.
Right? Okay. Uh, what about problem-based learning? There are about 40% of you who said yes to this.
Problem-based learning is something what we derive, something which would have been derived by somebody. They would have struck somewhere. We take that and we derive a solution for that. Say, for example, there is a team A and B. A is working on something, but they couldn't complete it. B look into A and find what the issue is, and they help out with the issue and try to derive a solution for that, and B derive the result. Getting the solution from the problem is said to be a problem-based learning. Simple terms is what I know. I have shared one.
All right. Okay. Anybody else would like to pitch in? I've got one answer in the chat box. Sudeep says that problem-based learning emphasizes learning through doing, collaboration, and critical thinking, while projects quite often focus more on the final product. Okay. I hope it's not Chat GPT. Looks very much like a Chat GPT definition because it is, and it is absolutely correct. There's nothing wrong in it. Okay. So, okay, we'll add to this a little bit. It needs some clarification because there are some gaps, right? Little bit of gaps are there, but let me share my PPT so that we are all on the same page when we say what is problem-based learning. Okay, so basically when we talk about projects, only a project, okay, it is a project that is given after teaching a particular class or a unit or a training program. Okay, it is like it is a supplement. It is not necessary that after every training or every class a project is given. It's not necessary. It's typically done individually, although it can be done in a group. For example, I did my certified instructional design course from Carleton Management Institute of Management Institute from US. And after the course was over, we had to submit a project based on what we had learned, and we were graded on that. However, there was no presentation, there was no viva, nothing. But if you look at today's engineering courses, one of the semesters, they have to do a project. And it is a group project in which the whole group works together on a particular project. They have to present that project. There is going to be a viva on that project, and they are graded on it. So projects are necessarily not training content. They are given post training to ensure that, learning has been there, has been completed, and people have understood. That is what a project means. Project-based learning, on the other hand, actually the entire project is a learning unit. Or it is a major vehicle for teaching the contents of that particular unit. Okay. So it is always a team activity, like it is like Sudeep has mentioned, in the chat box, that it emphasizes learning through doing and collaboration, which means that project-based learning always is a team activity. The project is not given after the training is over. Project is launched at the beginning of the training program itself. It is launched at that time. The trainer may conduct a few sessions or a few training to give inputs, knowledge, etc. That would be required to do the project. So what is the difference between project-based learning and projects here?
Project is given after the training is done, and project-based learning is a part of the learning process.
Yes. So when you said, Gaurav, that, it's given on the go, you learn on the go. Partially correct. You're learning by doing it, but you're not left to your own devices. We are talking about experiential learning methods. So we as trainers are very, very important. Okay, we are stars here. All right, don't forget that. We are the ones who are going to do all this. So we are not letting them learn on their own, but we are guiding them, facilitating the whole process of learning, but through a project. So obviously there will be, some driving questions that we will have to pose. Let's say, you've given a project like design a marketing campaign for one of your products. Now, it seems like a project. Probably what we want to teach them is the concepts of marketing, market research, or maybe 4 P's of marketing, or how to select vendors, how to select advertisers, how to think about going, critically examining different avenues. These may be all our learning outcomes. And then the questions that the trainer will have to ask, the driving questions is like, okay, do you know what the 4 P's of marketing are? And there will be a big discussion on this. The difference, if I get the project beforehand, is whatever is taught in the class, I'm constantly thinking, how do I use it in my project? Okay, so 4 P's of marketing, big deal. What am I going to do with my campaign about it? You're talking about market research. So directly, if I start talking about market research, they may find that, okay, why am I learning this? which is a typical question that every learner has. Why should I learn this? So if we are giving them a project, asking them to some questions or asking them to discuss, asking them how they're going to go about it, then they themselves will pose questions. So my major part of learning here is inquiry-based learning. So they will ask, so okay, we do this marketing campaign, but which media, which mode shall we use? Should we go for print or should we go for digital marketing? What is it? So he said, how will you find that out? Okay, so you'll need some market research. You need to know who your consumers are. What is the demographics? How will you know that? Then do your market research, how to do it, and then they go around doing it. Okay, so the discussion is not academic. You give them pointers and then they start working on it. So they are given time off, or there'll be gaps in the training where they will actually put into practice everything that they have learned, start putting it, doing some market research, doing some analysis, whatever it is. And then they will keep on refining the project, and there will be more questions, more inputs. And this iteration will continue till the final project is ready. Of course, it is not just like, as things happen, things are going to go. We have to plan it in a manner that all these things happen, but a project gets completed in a particular fixed timeline. So our job of teaching may come down. Our job of understanding the knowledge as a whole is very high. We have to be subject matter experts. And our job of organizing and planning becomes very, very, very big. Okay. Also, problem-based learning. So anyone can tell me about this problem-based learning?
Can it be a case study thing that you give them a case study and they work on it?
I understand where you're coming from, but rather than giving a case study with all the facts and figures, here you give them a problem. So we don't give them a case study with, machine breakdown has increased, or rather, let's say production has decreased. And we've done a root cause analysis and we have found that this machine is down and maintenance is poor. This all happens in a case study. We are not doing anything. We are giving them a problem. Production has decreased. Give us solutions. So obviously now they have to solve this problem by giving a solution. Why has production decreased? What will I do about it? Balance all the steps are just like project-based. However, here, major emphasis is also on research, inquiry-based learning, but major difference is that it is basically a place where you have to give them an open-ended problem. How to address declining sales in Maharashtra. How to improve the onboarding process. Okay. I have a nice chart that is made, which tell you the difference between these three methods. So what are projects? Projects are like product-focused task assignments given by the teacher. Product does not necessarily mean I'm actually doing a product. Okay, a poster can also be a product. Okay, I have just heard this. I'm reading the chat message by Moria. For example, learning on repetition failure of power grid during summer. Okay, yes, that's a great example for problem-based learning. Okay, project-based learning is learning methodology. Okay, learning through projects emphasizing real-world relevance, collaboration, and reflection. Problem-based learning is learning through solving real or simulated problems with focus on the final output and more focus on the process of inquiry. Right? Learning objective of a project is on completing the task. Project-based learning, developing deep understanding of the content through real-world project. We are not first giving the content, then saying, okay, see how you're applying. We are actually making them understand the content through a real-world project. Problem-based learning, solving open-ended, ill-structured problems to foster critical thinking. All right. If you have to look at the definition, projects are a simple task or an assignment that a student completes to demonstrate learning. Project-based learning is an instructional approach where students learn by working on a project that requires critical thinking, problem solving, and collaboration. So we had our definition given to us by Subhash in the chat box. And problem-based learning is an instructional approach where students learn by solving a complex, open-ended problem. Okay, so what is our role? What is the differences in our role for all three? In projects, after everything is taught by the teacher, the role is only of providing guidance and feedback. But in PBL, as it is called, now PBL and PBL, it is like that. So they're same acronyms. So we will go on into problem and project based. Okay. So project-based learning is facilitates learning, provides guidance, and encourages autonomy. So we are now helping the participants to understand the process. Instead of teaching them root cause analysis, we'll tell them do it. Learn on your own. If you have any problem, come back to me. These are the resources you can actually check. In problem-based learning, the teacher is going to present the problem, facilitate learning, and encourage inquiry, asking questions. Focus is on completing the product. In project PBL, it is applying learning to real-world scenarios, developing skills, and creating a product. Problem-based learning, developing problem-solving skills, critical thinking, and collaboration. Okay, so learner involvement in projects is he has to complete the project. But when he has to do a project-based learning, he has to collaborate with other people in the team. They have to come up with some item, product, research, whatever. And in problem based, they have to investigate, define, and actually solve a problem. So in problem-based learning, there is always going to be a problem. In project-based, they may or may not be a problem, but it involves actually a guiding question or a challenge. In just project, there is no problem. Okay. Now, these are the major differences. The balance two slides will actually tell you how they are structured differently. So, okay. So when is a project given? In a project is given after the teaching is over. Project-based learning, it begins with the whole project. Same thing with the problem-based. Content delivery for project is always front-loaded, then applied. In project-based, it is integrated during project development. And in problem-based learning, it emerges as the learner explores the problem. So structure-wise, if you look at it, how do I prepare? How do I prepare my session plan? I cannot in problem-based learning. It is very loosely structured. It depends on what learners have identified and what they need to learn. In case of project-based, it is moderately structured. The students do have a voice and choice, but there is some sort of a structure which I may put in depending upon the learner's level of knowledge. In projects, very rigid. Set steps, set structure. I decide as a trainer how I'm going to go about it, how I'm going to do it. So my control level is very high in project, only in projects. In project-based learning, it is shared with the learners. In problem-based learning, it is actually minimal, not much. They have their own learning process. Okay. Collaboration, therefore, crucial to come to solutions in problem-based learning, is essential in team in project-based, optional, limited in projects. Okay. Outcome is that there is, in a project, there's always going to be something, a report or a product, and the assessment will happen based on the completion of that product. In project-based learning, a comprehensive project with real-world application is the outcome. And when you assess it, not only that real-world project, final product is assessed, but the whole process of learning, how you have collaborated, that also will be assessed. And in problem-based learning, assessment is on the entire process of reasoning, justification, collaboration, reflection, everything. Okay. Time-wise, projects are short to medium, longer is the project-based, and medium to long-term would be the problem-based. Okay, Sudeep has given some more examples. Let me just have a look at it. From the pharma industry, project-based learning is developing a new drug formulation. Problem-based learning is studying drug interactions on adverse drug reaction. And project would be making the final product and making it accessible to patients. All right, very good. Fantastic. If you look at it, they seem quite similar. Now we leave projects outside. Our topic is PBL. Okay, whether it is projects or it is problem, the topic is PBL. So they are quite similar actually, both them. Both problem-based learning and project-based learning help students gain critical thinking. They allow students to utilize the classroom. So they take the help of the expert, subject matter expert who's teaching there. Also, you will use technology, they will use data from the real world. So they have access to a number of things and they are perfectly allowed to use them. Problem-based and project-based learning both require students to be self-motivated and self-directed. Okay, that is one of the things that is expected in PBL, where the teacher acts only as a facilitator and the whole thing runs on the self-motivation and direction of the student. Okay. There are some critical things also. Both are inquiry-based teaching methods. Both teaching methods engage students in creating questions, revising knowledge. At the same time, while they're doing this, they are developing their skills in critical thinking, collaboration, communication, reasoning, synthesis, resilience, so many other things. So both use the inquiry-based teaching method in this methodology. Focus in problem-based is that they solve a problem. Project, they do a task. Okay? So major key difference is what is coming out. One comes up with a solution, one comes up with a project. Now, giving this, all these things, it's still, very fluid. I've given you so many slides giving the difference between projects and problem-based learning. But they're highly flexible tubes and we can adapt them. Like I said, that problem-based learnings are supposed to be long-term. But it can be adapted. So you can have probably a, 3-day leadership program on, say, strategic thinking, wherein you've used a problem-based learning over the whole 3 days. And we've done it. So it's not necessarily a very long term. In that 3 days, we have also done it. Similarly, when we are talking about project-based, it could be a mini module in or a 90 minutes or a 60-minute, capstone module in your training program also. So they are flexible. We can adapt them to suit our requirements. But we are trainers. We are doing a course, postgraduate program. We should know the key differences. Okay. There's another thing also that, very often people say that problem-based learning is nothing but a subset of project-based learning because everything remains the same except for the problem. And very often, a lot of trainers give project-based learning, but the project is also like a question. In that case, then how does it happen? So it is a little confusing and it could be termed as a subset. All right. So to kind of understand everything, let's have a quiz. So I'm giving you a scenario here. You tell me whether it's a project or a project-based learning or a problem-based learning. Okay, so scenario 1, learners are asked to create a poster about workplace safety based on a template.
Project based.
It's a project based.
It is only a project.
It is a
Project.
Oh, it's only
Only
a
a project.
project. Okay. So when you say project based, then it comes into our methodology. Okay. So project based, problem based. Right. Okay. Second scenario. A team is tasked with redesigning the employee onboarding process based on user feedback.
Project based learning.
Perfect. Very good. Fantastic. A team is given the challenge of identifying why employee engagement scores are declining and recommending solutions.
Problem based.
Problem based.
Lovely. Fantastic. Learners build a model of an eco-friendly office using given materials and instructions.
Project.
Lovely. Great. Participants are asked to investigate and address increased customer complaints in a service center.
Problem based.
Lovely. Correct. Trainees write and perform a skit to demonstrate effective communication following sample script.
Project.
You are very quick and absolutely correct. Cross-functional group must develop a marketing campaign for a product.
Problem based.
What
Project.
Is there a problem here?
No.
No. If it is not a problem, project-based.
Project based.
This one is problem based.
The next one you're saying, participants are told to find out why a new software rollout failed and
Problem based.
Problem based.
Perfect. All right. Learners develop and present a policy brief on remote work based on current organizational challenges.
Project.
So it's a project based actually.
Problem based
It is
because there is
project-based.
Problem.
Yeah, it is not
Project.
It's a project based.
It is project based because nothing is being taught and it is not a problem as such. The word, because I use the words here based on current organizational challenges, it seems to be like a problem, but it is
Correct.
nothing but a project. Okay. All right. The group must identify why productivity dropped
Problem
after.
based.
Problem based.
Okay. All right. Learners are asked to research and create a presentation.
Project based.
It's a project. It's only project.
Project.
Okay. Participants are assigned to create an action plan to increase sales in a specific region based on market
It's a
research.
project based.
project based.
Project based. Wonderful. Last two. Learners are provided with with customer churn data and asked to investigate root
Problem
causes.
based.
This is
Problem based.
based.
And participants produce a newsletter about the company's sustainability efforts with a preset format.
Project.
Project
Project.
based.
Perfect. All right. Chavi, my question to you, okay, is it a little clearer now?
Yeah, very much clear now.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
All right.
I was aware of it, but not able to differentiate very clearly. But now it's very clear. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Glad everything is clear. Okay. I have a question for all of you here. Let me just see the chats. Are they again? They are again examples, please. All right. Oh, I'm so sorry. The answers were given in the chat box also. All right. Okay. Question for you. In your opinion, what skills do you think are important to succeed in our world today? 21st century, what are the skills we are looking at?
Artificial intelligence, ma'am.
Both hard skill and soft skills.
Okay. Yes, Nikita?
Change management.
Hi, ma'am. I think problem solving skills, solution oriented approach, and perseverance and deep work are very important to succeed.
Okay. All right.
Ma'am, very basic one. We should have common sense.
All right. Common
And
sense.
stay updated with the new technologies and
Okay.
adapting to it.
Adapt. So skill here would be being able to adapt.
Adapt.
All right.
Yes.
Mustafa has written people management skill. Dr. Haribhau has written counseling. Yes. Now, there was a survey that was done and some of the skills are listed out here, you know. Personal and social responsibility, planning, critical thinking, reasoning, and creativity, strong communication, both interpersonal and presentation needs, cross-cultural understanding, visualizing and decision making, and like you all said, AI, technology, etc., etc. Now, quite a few of these skills are learned by the way if you use PBL method. Problem or project, either one. If you use the problem solving method or the project based learning, both of or a lot of these skills like you have a cross cultural team where people it's a global team and you give them a problem or you give them a project, automatically cross cultural understanding, strong communication, critical thinking, reasoning, all these are learned along with the real topic that you are actually talking. So it is a very important methodology that we have, not very commonly used, but yes, it is quite important. And therefore, as trainers, we should know about it. Okay, we should be well versed in these two methodologies. So what do we need to be proficient in? We should be able to design a project-based learning program, and we should know what the base practices are. You know, what is the skills or the roles or the responsibilities that we are having. Okay, so project-based design, what are the various elements? Okay, it starts with a problem or a challenging assignment that you're going to give them. So the element of problem-based learning is or a project-based learning. We're talking about project-based learning is the project itself. Now this, you can't just pick up any project and give them. You have to give them a project which is meaningful, relevant, they can relate to it, they should be interested in doing it, and they should be that project that you give, it has to be appropriate to the level that the learners are. So Subhash sir has given those pharma-based examples, you know, developing a novel drug formulation. You're going to require a certain level of people who are going to do this project. No, you can't just give it. We want to teach this group critical thinking skills, and so I give this project. No, it won't help out there. Okay, so that is the crux of our entire PBL, that you have to find a project which is challenging enough, relatable enough, but it has to be appropriate, the level of challenge has to be appropriate to the maturity level, to the understanding, to the experience level of your learners. At the same time, it has to be authentic, real world. You can't just take any fictitious project, you know. It has to be real world, because when the learners are going to do the project, they are using all the real world tools. They're learning based on technology. They're going to use technology to do their task. They're using data to do the task. They're going to use tools to do the task, and therefore it has to be authentic. Now, the key element for both problem and project based is sustained inquiry. The whole concept of learning in this method is based on students asking questions, then finding resolutions and applying the information. So critical thinking that we are talking about, or looking at it in a holistic manner, thinking about how we're going to approach the problem, that itself is what we are talking about, sustained inquiry, and that becomes a very, very critical part of our methodology. Now, we also said that, it's not very well structured. A lot of things depend upon the students' wants and needs. So students have a voice and choice. In project-based, of course, they are making some decisions, not all of them, but they have a choice and a voice while deciding about the project, how they're going to work, what will they create, what ideas do they really want to express. Okay. And as the project proceeds, as they become familiar with the process, as they become familiar with the content, our role actually diminishes. So earlier we might be a little bit of a instructor as well. Then it moves to guide, and then it probably ends up as a facilitator. Okay. Two important critical elements again: reflection and critique and revision. From day one, all theories tell us, and I've been repeating myself number of times, no learning happens with experience. Learning only happens with reflection. So both the participants as well as the teachers, they need to reflect on everything. Effectiveness. As a trainer, I have to understand or reflect on the effectiveness of the learning. Are my learning outcomes achieved? What I want to teach them, is it being done? Okay. Other than that, how are the project activities going on? Are the students working in collaboration? What is the quality of work the students are, coming up with? What are the obstacles that they are facing? How I can overcome these? These are all reflections that a trainer must do. And the trainer also has to ensure that reflection happens from the learners. What is my quality? Am I going in the right direction? What am I doing right? Am I following a proper process? Is there a change that is required? So reflection and will definitely result in being a critique and giving feedback. So feedback can be given not only by you, but the students themselves give each other feedback. So this step, reflection and critique, will probably also results in redrafting, refining. I told you the iterations going on. So it will continue till finally you have built in excellence in the whole project. Last key element is that the whole project needs to be shared. It goes beyond the classroom. Doesn't mean it has to be published somewhere, or finally, like that pharmaceutical example, that the drug has to be made. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that public meaning, it has to be going beyond the classroom. You have to involve maybe the senior management or the CEOs or the CXOs who will come and watch the final presentation. because it also helps in that self-motivation part, self-direction part. They will put in a little bit more effort if they know that this project is going to be reviewed or being seen by the top management. Okay. So now that you know the elements, design elements of problem-based learning, can you tell me what are the roles and responsibilities of the trainer here? What do you think? You know what?
I'm designing
Yes,
the project.
absolutely correct, Kanagaraj. Designing, that will be his main response. Designing the project, which topic, how to take it, etc. Yes.
Ma'am, identify the with to whom the group to whom the training will be provided. Then after the program will be designed and structured accordingly. So the group to whom the training is provided is the most important part of any training.
Yes.
Trainer's responsibility.
All right. So you're saying need assessments and
Need
audience analysis?
Analysis? Yes.
Okay. All right. Great.
Timelines?
Yes, absolutely. Timelines. How are you going to follow up with them? Because, a lot of things depend upon the learners, right? So,
Roadmap.
Yes.
Development.
Structure
actually,
structure
that's
of the
the correct word, the entire roadmap. That's what we are doing, right from the designing launch to the final culmination, what all is going to be done. That is your plan, and in detail plan. How are you going to do it? When are you going to assess them? When is the reflection going to happen? When are you going to give, what inputs are you going to start with? Absolutely correct. Roadmap is what we are talking about. Correct. What else?
Ma'am, as a trainer, we should have a rough end result, outcome in the mind. Approximately, the project will result in this way, a end product.
Okay. So if you're saying that if you use my example earlier one, that come up with a marketing campaign. So you should
Yes,
have a
ma'am,
marketing
right.
campaign in your own mind.
Yes, right. So whether it is fitting into that matching or whether it is excelling, maybe we can use it as a benchmark, whether it is going beyond that or matching to that, or it is substandard. Like that, we can have some kind of evaluations also in the mind.
Okay. I think what you're trying to say is we should have a way we are going to assess the outcome.
Yes, ma'am, right.
Correct.
Yes.
So I would not recommend you to have your design ready, because then, we are going to always check up, mere design mein ye hua. Has he done that? Then we are going to kind of stifle their creativity, or we are not going to, we have to, actually, the whole thing is to build these skills, no? That people should be more creative, come up with different points, come up with, crazy outlandish ideas, which are workable. So if you have your design in mind, it might, we might forget about the end result altogether. So what we can do instead is have a plan in place of how you're going to, assess them. What are your standards for assessments? What is the rubrics you're creating? So
Okay,
this
ma'am. Got it.
particular project, I should assess on 1, 2, 3, 4 criteria. Okay. So our design is not ready, but in my mind, how much points I can give to what part of the project, So should I, if I give 1 mark, it means it is substandard. If I'm giving 2 marks, it means it has got these elements. If I'm giving 3 marks, it has got these elements. So a detailed process of assessment.
Okay, ma'am. Got it.
Okay, let me see what's on chat. Okay, feedback and action plan for afterwards. Absolutely correct. Okay, engaging learners. Jyoti saying absolutely correct. Wonderful. So just to put it in a structure, all that you have said is correct. Just putting it, design and plan, right from which topic, how to launch it, when to launch it, the whole roadmap that you have said. Then aligning it to the standards in the sense that your project and the learnings, the key knowledge and understanding of the subject has to be delivered to them. Otherwise, what's the point? We are actually, using it to achieve some learning outcomes. Then we said that, okay, one of these responsibilities that, we said collaboration, culture, etc. We talked about all these things that are happening in the project. Or asking questions. That's a key design element of this particular method. But then our learners are not going to start asking questions unless you build a very nice and safe environment where they feel free to pose questions, share their ideas, their thoughts. Building that culture, our responsibility. Making them learn collaboratively, making them be attentive to the quality, working together with team spirit, having a growth mindset, learning things independently. These are the things that we have to foster. Now, there is no roadmap, there is no plan, but it is our responsibility, because otherwise, why to use this method? Okay. The other thing is manage activities. Like you said, you're having a roadmap, but you have to also manage the activities like the time. Are they following the time? Do they have the resources? Keep them ready, keep them available, take care of all the obstacles that they are facing. Scaffolding, engaging, and coaching. Both these, how am I going to support them? So my learning or training inputs, knowledge inputs, they have to be ready. Identify when help is going to be required by my learners, give it at that time. How am I going to help them build up their skills? How am I going to help them reflect? All these are our responsibilities during the whole process. And lastly, we just discussed assess the students' learning. Okay, so our responsibilities and role is slightly different in PBL than a normal trainer. Okay. Now we also have a model that is given about problem-based learning. It is more or less a structure and the elements that are involved. This is there in the material that is submitted to you. I would like you to go through it. I'll just put it here that this model is there. And if you look at the steps, they're all something that we have already discussed. Okay. What I would like to do is mainly, okay, how to take a decision. Which method to use? Should I go in for projects, project-based learning, or should I go for a problem-based learning? How do I decide? Okay, so the important thing here is what is your goal and who is your audience. Okay, so if your project goal is skill application or reinforcement, and your audience or the learners in front of you are beginner to intermediate level who need a little bit of structure, give projects. But if you've got a little higher level of learners, they can handle an open-ended inquiry with some guidance. And the goal is not only learning and doing, but also reflecting and coming up with their own original things, along with collaboration, communication, etc. Go in for projects. If you've got advanced levels of learners who are self-directed and require minimal structure, and the goal is to really go deep into understanding self-directed inquiry and reasoning, go for problem-based learning. All right. So these are the differences, and this is the new method that we are learning. I'd just like to end with the MCQ again, just to give you a better understanding. Some of it is something that we have already done. Some one or two questions may be a little different. But what I would like you to do is Please give me your answers. There are MCQs. Select one of them. Note down somewhere. So at the end, you can give me your marks as well. So how many correct answers you give? Give 1 mark for each right answer. So are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. We are ready.
Okay, thank you. So question number 1. In which model is a student learning driven primarily by questions and the need to know more?
Problem-based learning, ma'am. B.
B. Perfect. Fantastic. All right. Question number 2. Which element is typically more structured in project-based learning than in problem-based learning? More structured.
Assessment method, ma'am.
Assessment methods.
Yes.
Assessment methods.
Fantastic. This was a very tricky and it's not something that we have discussed at length. Fantastic. Wonderful. All right. Third question. Which of the following best distinguishes problem-based learning and project-based learning?
C.
C, ma'am. C.
C.
C. Perfect. Absolutely correct. C. All right. Question 4. Which of the following most accurately describes the facilitator's role in problem-based learning?
C.
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 B.
Oh, we would see, all of them are required. All right. All B, C, D are required, but most accurately, that's what we are looking at.
D.
C.
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 Yes, you're right. You know, obviously, they have to oversee the timeline. Obviously, they are going to evaluate the final product. But most important out of all the three is a guide who helps the student navigate the problem. Okay. Question number 5. Which of this is least likely to be a feature of problem-based learning? Least likely.
B. B.
B.
B, absolutely
B,
correct.
ma'am. B. Final presentation of a product.
Wonderful, great. It's so nice to have such good students, you know, who are going to get flying color, you're going to pass with flying colors. Okay, 6th, a learner is tasked with designing a water filtration prototype and presenting it to the city officials. This is an example of
Project.
Project-based
Project-based learning. Project-based.
correct. Wonderful. What is the role of reflection in project-based and problem-based learning?
C, ma'am.
C.
C.
It's C.
C. C.
It's
C.
Okay, 8th. Which of the following is not a challenge in implementing problem-based learning in a corporate training environment? Not a challenge.
A.
A.
I think.
A.
Okay, the answer is D.
Over-reliance on technical.
Because there are so many technical tools which are available in an organization. If you're going to a college and using this method, technical tools may not be available. That will be a big challenge there. If you're an independent trainer and you're going to have an open training program, this will be the biggest challenge that you don't have the technical tools. But if you're doing it in a corporate training environment, not that the others are no, a challenge, but I'm just giving you not a challenge in a corporate training environment. All right, next question. Which type of learning begins with learner confusion or ambiguity about how to proceed?
Problem-based, ma'am.
B. B.
Problem-based, ma'am.
Correct. All right. 10. The purpose of problem-based learning is to
A.
C. No, it's B.
B.
B, bravo.
Identify areas where
Identify areas where the performance is low.
C.
C, ma'am. C. Act as a trigger for
Trigger
learning
for
and
learning and
C,
research.
ma'am.
C.
C.
Okay.
we need
I think the earlier
all the
answers were
above.
given before reading all the answers. Once you read all the options, you changed it to C. Absolutely correct. Okay, please note that whatever learning, the solutions in a problem-based method is given, it is not necessary that they will be implemented. There is no rule that this is done and therefore it has to be implemented. No, not sure. It may or may not be done. Okay. Which of the following learning methods is better suited to develop real-world solution design skills over time?
project-based.
Project-based learning.
Project based.
Okay. Which strategy is most suitable for assessing problem-based learning?
So B, ma'am.
B.
It's B.
Written reflection.
Written reflection and problem solving.
Absolutely correct. Wonderful. Okay. Which of the following industries is most likely to use project-based learning to simulate real-world deliverables?
Engineering.
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 Yes. Not that it is not used anywhere else,
Yes.
but most likely
More of-
engineering.
Out of
Yes,
these
ma'am,
four
right.
options, engineering.
Yes, absolutely correct. Very good. Second last question. In project-based learning, formative assessments are typically used to.
So C, ma'am.
C. Guide
Guide
learners
learners
to
C.
project
Guide
based.
learners
C.
through project phase.
Guide learners through project phases. Perfect. And the last one.
B.
B. Practice solving real challenges and
Practice solving and real challenges.
A.
Perfect. Absolutely,
B.
absolutely correct. Okay. So here were the 15 MCQs. And I don't know, tell me how many marks have you got? Put it in the chat box maybe. 13. Okay. Dr. Harisbal, 13, 12, 12, and 12, 11. 12, 13. All right. Okay, such intelligent students I have. I am so grateful. Thank you very, very, very much. Okay, now I don't know the name. It's Samsung. 14 out of 15. That is fantastic. Sudeep sir, I'm looking for your answer marks. Or you didn't put it? All right. Okay, doesn't matter. Well, these MCQs were not given to test or anything. It was just to improve understanding. There's no point in repeating everything that has been said again and again to make you understand. So MCQs are a different way of going about it. And I can see from your answers that all of you are really have thought of, or have understood it very clearly and are clear on using it. So great. This particular method, there are some statistics available with us that students doing a problem-based learning, a project-based learning, or rather PBL, both problem and project, retain information 75% better than the traditional classroom method. 87% of our teachers have reported that, there is an increase in the students' engagement if PBL is used. And also, students showed a significant increase in problem-solving skills if PBL has been used in any kind of training. So as trainers, we want to improve retention, increase engagement, enhance problem solving. Well, we have a nice method available to us, requires a different style of teaching, requires a different method of going about it, but it's a wonderful tool, methodology to know, have, and use. Okay, so with that, we come to the close of the session. Any questions? Anything you need me to clarify? Okay. If none, then okay, we can stop for the day. Thank you very much. Nikita, you want my number? It is there on the last slide of every PPT that I have shared. So my email ID as well as my personal phone number is shared with you. Every class PPTs that I shared, the last slide with the thank you has got my number on it. Feel free to get in touch with me. It doesn't have to be only for this subject and doesn't have to be only now. Anytime you have anything which you feel I can clarify, please feel free to reach out to me, and it will be my pleasure to help you out in any way I can.
Thank you so much,
very
ma'am.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
I
you.
have enjoyed
you,
taking
ma'am.
your classes. Look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
And all the best for your
Thank you,
future.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.